Welcome to the Future Strong podcast. We're always talking about, giving you the tools and knowledge to make a real difference in the world. And today, we're going to be talking about something super important.
Yeah.
Especially if you work with young people a lot. It's mental health first aid. So, we all learn about physical first aid, right? Like what to do if someone falls and scrapes their knee or something like that.
Right.
Mental health first aid is kind of like that, but for mental health challenges.
Exactly. And, it's crucial when you think about young people. Think about this.
Okay.
50% of all mental illnesses begin by age 14. And that number jumps to 75% by the time somebody reaches their mid-20s.
Wow. Those are some pretty serious statistics. So I guess let's dive right in.
Yeah.
What exactly is mental health first aid?
So at its core, mental health first aid is a training program that teaches people how to identify, understand, and respond to signs of mental health and substance use challenges.
Okay.
Really, the focus is on equipping us to help adolescents, specifically those between the ages of 12 and 18.
So it's kind of like a toolkit for recognizing when a young person is struggling and then knowing what to do to help them.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
The training covers common signs and symptoms of a range of mental health challenges that youth may face. So things like anxiety and depression.
Right. Those are some big ones.
Huge.
But are there other things that it covers too?
Absolutely. So we also talk about things like eating disorders, ADHD, and even substance use challenges, which affect a significant number of young people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that 10.2% of youth will actually be diagnosed with a substance use disorder in their lifetime?
Oh, wow. That's a big number.
Yeah.
So, it's not just about recognizing the signs, though, right? It's also about how to actually interact with someone who's going through something.
Exactly. So knowing how to approach a young person who's struggling, how to listen non-judgmentally, and how to connect them with appropriate resources, those are all crucial skills.
Okay, so you're not trying to be a therapist or anything. It's more about just providing that initial support and guidance.
Exactly. It's not about replacing professional help. It's about being a helpful presence in someone's life. Being someone they can turn to who can help them find the right resources when they need them.
And I feel like that's something that applies to a lot of people who work with young people, not just, like school counselors or therapists.
You're absolutely right. So while mental health professionals definitely benefit from mental health first aid, it's designed for anyone who interacts with young people on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Teachers, coaches, youth group leaders, even parents.
Yeah.
Anyone.
It really could be anyone. Really anyone who plays a role in a young person's life.
Exactly.
Because honestly, those are often the people that young people actually trust and feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah. And so, having those adults trained in mental health first aid means they can respond in a way that's informed and potentially make a huge difference in a young person's life.
Okay, so you mentioned connecting someone with professional help.
Yes.
Is there like a method or strategy that mental health first aid uses to guide that process?
There is. It's called the ALG Action Plan.
Interesting.
And it's a step-by-step approach.
Okay, what does ALG stand for?
ALG stands for assess for risk of suicide or harm, listen non-judgmentally, give reassurance and information, encourage appropriate professional help, and encourage self-help and other support strategies.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's like you assess the immediate risk and then kind of go through these different steps to give them support and connect them with whatever they need.
Exactly. And what's so great about this is that it really does take the guesswork out of these tough situations because it gives you that clear roadmap to follow.
I like that roadmap.
Yeah.
It really gives us the knowledge and skills to deal with a really difficult situation and possibly even, make a big difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It is pretty powerful to think about that statistic, that 1 in 5 teens and young adults is living with a mental health condition. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, chances are we all know somebody who's struggling with this right now.
Absolutely. And this is why mental health first aid is so important. It gives us the tools to recognize those struggles and respond effectively.
Speaking of those tools, who should get this training?
You're right.
It seems like this could benefit almost anyone.
The more people who have these skills, the better.
Yeah.
Ideally, mental health first aid training would be as common as CPR or basic first aid.
So it goes beyond those traditional helping professions. Like it's not just for teachers and counselors.
Exactly. Think about all the adults in a young person's life.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers, school staff, coaches, youth group leaders, camp counselors, parents, friends' parents. They're all potential first responders in a mental health situation.
And often they are the adults who have built that trust and rapport. So they might be the first person that a young person confides in when they're struggling.
Exactly. And so having those adults trained in mental health first aid means that when a young person does reach out, they can respond in a way that is supportive, informed, and helpful, potentially changing the course of that young person's journey.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah, it really is. It comes down to, empowering people to be those first responders, to be there for young people in a way that's truly helpful.
That makes me think about the ALG action plan you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
It's a great framework, but can you maybe give us an example of what that would look like in a real-life situation?
Sure. So imagine you're coach and one of your players has been acting withdrawn and quiet lately.
Okay.
Maybe they haven't been performing at their usual level. They just seem down. Then during a practice, they mention feeling hopeless about the future. That's a clear sign to start assessing for risk of suicide or harm the A in ALG.
Gotcha.
You might gently ask them if they've been having thoughts of hurting themselves or if they feel like giving up.
Okay. And that's a tough conversation to have, but it's really important.
It is.
But that's just the first step, right?
Right. The next step is to listen non-judgmentally. The L in ALG. This means creating a safe space for them to open up, avoiding interruptions, and really hearing what they're saying, even if their perspective is different from yours. You can show you're truly listening by reflecting back what you hear. Maybe saying something like, "It sounds like you're feeling really overwhelmed and hopeless right now."
Yeah, and I think that avoiding judgment is so key, especially with teenagers. They just need to feel heard and understood, not lectured to.
Absolutely. And once you've listened and acknowledged their feelings, the next step is to give reassurance and information, the G in ALGE.
Okay.
This means letting them know that they're not alone, that what they're feeling is valid, and that there are resources available to help. You could say something like, "It's okay to feel this way, and I'm here for you. There are people who can help you through this, and things can get better."
It sounds like just that reassurance and information can really go a long way in making someone feel supported and giving them some hope.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the next step, which is encouraging appropriate professional help, the first E in ALG.
Okay.
This means connecting them with mental health professionals who can provide that extra support and guidance they need. You could say something like, "I know it can be scary to reach out for help, but there are therapists and counselors who are trained to help people through challenges like this. I can help you find someone if you'd like."
Right. And even if they're hesitant about seeking professional help, are there other things that we can do?
There are, and that's where the second E in ALG comes in, encouraging self-help and other support strategies.
Okay.
So this could involve suggesting things like journaling, mindfulness exercises, or even connecting them with support groups or online resources. There are a lot of different strategies that can help them cope and build resilience.
It sounds like ALG really is a good comprehensive framework for responding to these challenges in a way that is supportive and actually gives you some actions to take.
Exactly. It really gives people those tools they need to make a real difference. And, remember, mental health first aid isn't about being perfect or having all the answers.
Right.
It's about being there, being supportive, and knowing how to connect people with the right resources.
Okay, so what does the training actually look like? Is it all lectures and textbooks?
Not at all. The training is actually designed to be very interactive and engaging.
Okay.
You'll learn through a combination of presentations, discussions, group activities, and even role-playing.
Oh, wow.
It's a really dynamic and hands-on experience.
That sounds a lot more effective than just, listening to someone talk at you.
Definitely. The interactive format really does help people absorb the information and feel more confident in actually applying it.
I bet. And I'm sure the role-playing is really helpful, too.
Oh, absolutely.
So you get to actually practice those tough conversations.
Yeah, in a safe environment.
That's great.
Yeah.
One thing I've always wondered about is the difference between, actual mental health challenges and just the normal ups and downs of life. How do you know when something is serious enough to actually, need intervention?
That's a great question. And it's important to remember that everyone experiences, difficult emotions from time to time.
Right.
Life is full of ups and downs.
Yeah.
But there are some signs that indicate something more serious might be going on.
Like, what are some red flags to look for?
Well, some things to watch out for include significant changes in behavior, like withdrawal from social activities, sudden drops in grades, or changes in eating or sleeping patterns.
Okay, so it's not necessarily about, the specific emotion that they're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about the intensity and how long it's lasting.
Yeah.
And how much it's impacting their life.
Exactly. So, for example, feeling sad after a disappointment is normal.
Yeah.
But if that sadness persists for weeks or months and starts to interfere with their schoolwork, relationships, or overall well-being,
Yeah.
that's a sign that they might need some professional help.
So it's about looking for those patterns and changes that are out of the ordinary for that person.
Precisely. And it's always better to err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about a young person, don't hesitate to reach out for help.
That's a good point. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
And reaching out for help is never a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength.
Exactly. And remember, even if it turns out that the young person doesn't need professional help, just knowing that someone cares and is there for them can make a world of difference.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think about the impact that one person can have just by, being present, listening without judgment, and offering support.
It really is. And that's what mental health first aid is all about,
Mhm.
It's about empowering people to be those beacons of hope and support for our youth.
It's about creating a future where mental health is prioritized and understood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a future that I think we can all get behind.
Yeah, it really is a future that we can all get behind. Well, this has been such an insightful conversation about a topic that honestly I feel like we don't talk about enough. So, to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today on the Future Strong podcast.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We really hope this conversation has given you some, valuable knowledge and hopefully a sense of empowerment when it comes to mental health.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but I think the main takeaway here is that we can all make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have a degree in psychology or be a mental health professional to be a supportive presence in a young person's life.
Right. It's really just about, recognizing that mental health is just as important as physical health, and we all have a responsibility to, create a more understanding and supportive environment for the young people in our lives.
And remember those statistics we talked about earlier?
Well, yeah.
50% of all mental illnesses begin by age 14 and 75% by the mid-20s.
Yeah.
That means there are young people in our lives right now who might be struggling, and we have the power to make a difference.
So where do we go from here? What can we do to make a difference? Well, I think for starters, we can all educate ourselves.
Yeah.
We can visit mhfa.org or email hello@mentalhealthfirstaid.org to learn more about mental health first aid training and all the different resources that are available.
Absolutely. It's a great first step.
Mm-hmm.
Take the time to empower yourself with the knowledge and the skills to support the young people in your life.
And even beyond the training, just start by having those open and honest conversations about mental health.
Yeah.
Let the young people in your life know that, it's okay to not be okay. And there's no shame in asking for help.
You can be that listening ear, that shoulder to cry on, that voice of support that guides them toward the resources they need.
Yeah, each and every one of us has the potential to be a mental health advocate.
Absolutely.
To be that source of strength for young people.
Yeah.
Let's commit to creating a future where mental health is, prioritized, understood, and supported.
Together we can build a future that's strong for ourselves and for generations to come.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Future Strong podcast.